Welcome back, guys, to Spending Time with Gregory. This is Friday Evening Focus. You know, on Friday Evening Focus, we talk about real serious topics, real serious things that have happened as I self-reflect in my life. And tonight we're doing part 2 of Walls of Reflection, my prison experience. And guys, make sure you go back and watch part 1 of of Reflection, my prison experience. And where I left off, we were talking about they brought me clothing inside this cell with a bunch of other guys. We're all naked, and they brought us clothing to put on, clothing to put on so we can walk on the compound dressed in our clothing. Now, we lined up outside of the intake facility after we were all dressed, and we were basically given our room assignments or our dorm assignments, and we were escorted in a line onto the facility to our dorms. Now, as we were walking to our dorms, there was a rec yard, and there were like other inmates on the rec yard having rec. And here I am in a line with 30 guys walking onto the compound, and you got guys running to the gate, you got guys looking over at us in a single file line, walking, with a couple of about 3 or 4 officers to our selected dorms. Now this, I felt like I was far from home now. I was in a setting that I had never been before, only seen it on TV. Now, here I am walking onto a compound with these guys at the gate looking at me and the other inmates, new inmates, going into the facility, lined up. No. We walked, and as we got to the dorms, they would stop in front of the dorm, and they would call our DC number, which is the number that they give you an ID, and you wear the ID on your shoulder. This is the ID. 613413. That's my DC number. And they would stop at each dorm, and they would call your DC number that was on your ID, and you would go in, that would be your dorm. I think, if I can remember, like the 3rd dorm I went to, and they called out my DC number, and I went into the dorm. And once I got in there, there was, other inmates, and there was an officer there, and the officer basically, introduced me to the inmate, said, "This is the house man." And they gave me my dorm assignment, my room assignment, and I had my linen, and I went to the room that I was assigned to. And at the same time, the house man, who is an inmate in the dorm, basically told me the rules of the dorm, showed me to the room that I was staying in, and basically kind of, told me a little bit about what was going on inside the dorm, when to take a shower, meal time, rec time. Now, what was important for the new inmates was a board they had on the wall, and it was a call-out board. And being a new inmate, you look at the call-out board to see where you need to be at in the morning. And on the call-out board is a list of names and areas within the prison that you have to be at in the morning after breakfast. So you look at the board and you see your DC number, 613413. And I'll give you an example. My first call out was to the case manager, or the they didn't call it case manager. They call it, I forget the name that they call it. The I forget the name, but he was the one that basically sat you down. Well, no, let me back up. All my first call outs were to medical, like medical, dental, medical, to a physical, a full physical. And that the full physical. Then the next day, I think I had a call out to dental, where they did all your dental work. Whatever you needed a teeth pull, or you had cavities, or whatever you need dental wise, you could get that done, right there at the reception center. That's where I was, of the prison. I thought, not case manager, but classification officer. Now, my third day at the prison, I had a call out to the classification officer. And the classification officer tells you, what camp you're going to go to, your classification, whether you're maximum, minimum, community, your status as far as an inmate, what's your custody level. Your custody level, which is important, because it decides what camp they're going to ship you to do your time. And that's the classification officer. Guys, thank you for watching part 2 of Walls of Reflection. I'll come back to you again for part 3. Spending time with Gregory. You guys have a nice evening.